what is happening, what you wanted to do.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another Indo-Indians show. We have a conversation today with a very special guest, Madam Anamika Bharti. She's the spouse of our current Indian ambassador to Indonesia, His Excellency, Mr. Manoj Kumar Bharti. Hello, Anamika. Welcome.
Thank you, Poonam. Thank you to everybody who have logged in already. It's very nice to be interacting. I mean, through Zoom only, but it's nice to be in touch, and I look forward to meeting more and more of Indo-Indians. So shoot, Poonam.
So, because of the pandemic, there are very few interactions possible physically. So but we are all very keen to know more about you, and especially since you've just come here in January of this year. So, Anamika ji, please, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
We do this every 3 years. We introduce ourselves, and my first introduction has always been that I'm Anamika from India. Any gathering, any new place, but I can tell you that I have never lived in one place for more than 3 or 4 years,
right?
All my life since I was born. So I'm basically from UP, but born and brought up in Bihar.
Right.
My husband is from Madhubani in Bihar, Madhubani district in Bihar. And and when he's from 88 batch, we got married in 89. And since then, we've been out of the country off and on. I've also lived in Delhi. When we go back, we only can stay in Delhi.
Right.
And I love Delhi as much as I love all other places. And I had also joined the administrative service with my husband, but later I resigned because I guess I was more interested in Indian diaspora and meeting Indians and exploring new land and new people.
Right.
Thank you, Prana.
I think that's wonderful. This is something that you have been here in Indonesia. And what has been your first impression of Indonesia? I know you had the opportunity to visit some places in Indonesia.
The first thing that strikes me is the wonderful weather. I have lived in minus 25 degrees also, and very hot countries also, hot and humid countries. But I think Indonesia has a very balanced kind of, I came in January when it was very, very cold in Delhi, and here it was so pleasant. So that is my first very good point about Indonesia. And the second is that I like the fruit and the things, like natural things here. A great fan of these things. And what was your question?
No, no, I wanted to check with you what you thought about Indonesia, because you've had
as I said, the weather, the fruit, and the people are very, very nice, very polite, very warm, and you can sense that they are liking you. And it's very important to live in a place where people are like looking up to you, or they're liking you. They're not looking down on you. Correct. I think even for the Indian diaspora, it becomes very, very important. And Indonesia, I will give 10 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely. People's, right. When you first thought about coming to Indonesia, what was your impression of Indonesia?
Well, I knew that it's a very big country with big population. And I also knew that it's not like westernized totally, or it's not as poor as many other countries in Africa are. So I have lived in Myanmar, so I had a fair idea of what to expect. But I didn't know that there won't be any atta here, by the way.
We know that as the ambassador's spouse, you are involved in so many activities. And there are so many social as well as welfare activities that you have to do. So could you give us a little brief about what kind of things that you do?
You see, ambassador is always there to represent his country.
Yeah.
and the spouse's role becomes very important. I mean, I'm saying it myself, but becomes quite important, because we are supposed to create uh, an Indian home away from home, of course, like all of you do. I
Yeah.
mean, you, whatever, whichever country you live in, it doesn't matter. We Indians, we take our country with us. But I have to officially represent India. You know, my house has to be having good things from India, good exhibits, you know, good object of art and things. And when people come to my house, they expect good Indian food. And it is becoming increasingly difficult because, you know, in Indonesia, there are many nice restaurants. So people try to compare. They've been visiting these restaurants. And so I have to like come up to a very good standard, which is good, which I find very challenging. And also, as the spouse of the ambassador, I have to closely interact with the spouses of other countries who are
Right.
here.
Right.
And it is male spouses also and female spouses also. So we uh, um, interact with each other, we organize programs for each other. And if there is something, you know, like not very warm, the spouse can make the relations very warm informally.
Yes, of
So
course.
we do all that. And of course, one of the challenges, not as ambassador's wife, but as a normal person, to know the language and the culture of the host country. So we all try.
Yeah, so you've been around the world, so you've had a little smattering of various languages. What about Bahasa Indonesia?
Yes, you know, when I was newly married, I was so enthusiastic. I wanted to learn Farsi and then Dutch and then Turkish and, you know, all the other countries that we have lived in. Uh, but I gave up when I was in Myanmar, which was our 6th or 7th posting, because I just couldn't understand. And here, I can't make out the words when they are spoken, but I can read, I can understand. Many words are taken from India or they have roots in India.
Yeah.
So those words I can pick up very fast, you know, because I have been doing that in Turkey and other countries, picking common words. And I have learned that in foreign countries, you don't learn grammar, you know, you just learn the words. And
I
somehow
see.
with your eyes, with your smile, with your gestures, you communicate.
Yes, a smile can say 1,000 words. That's very
Absolutely,
true.
absolutely. And you know, you cannot fake when you are talking with your eyes or with your gestures. People feel, you know, I've lived in 8 years, 8.5 years in Russian speaking countries. And I knew only hardly, I think, for 20 or 30 words, but I could talk so much that everybody thought that my Russian is impeccable and very good.
Wow.
It wasn't, but it was a combination of everything, you know. So have no intention to learn Bhasha Indonesia as such, but I know over the time I will pick up a few words and I will understand.
I'm sure you will. It is a very easy language.
Yeah,
And
I
it has,
understand that.
yeah,
It's a
and
very
as you very rightly said, so many words are taken from India and
yeah,
Sanskrit.
and also because of the script, you know, the Roman script, it's much
Much
easy.
easier.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Anamika ji, what have been your biggest challenges and joys as a diplomat's wife?
See, challenges are there always, and the joys you have to create for yourself. You know, it's not I always say place doesn't make or break a posting. It's the people who you interact that they make or break a posting, and a lot depends on ourselves, you know.
Right.
So you said you asked for the challenges.
Yeah. Challenges.
Yeah, so first challenge is always the language. The second is that, you know, you have to go out and buy things. And when my children were small, schooling was a big challenge too, you know.
Right.
We tried our best to move to another country in the month of July or September, so that they can start from the very beginning of a
Academic year.
so we have done that. And one very challenging thing which I think is that It applies to all the women, you know. Our men, they turn into a coat and pant and suits and whatnot. But you know, I have gone to gatherings of 300, 400 people, and I've always been the only one to be wearing my country's outfit, sari or salwar kameez. I think it needs a lot of courage for a woman to stand. We don't want to stand at every time, you know,
Yeah.
but representing our country, our culture, women are always at the forefront. And I always call such women or such people, um, they are the carriers of culture.
Right. Very nicely put. Very nicely
So,
put.
and there are many challenges on a daily basis also. You don't know the language, you cannot communicate. There's so many things. But then, in spite of all those things, you know, if you have a positive attitude, um, you do enjoy. Every country is unique, and God has given me this chance, so why not make the most of it?
Definitely. Definitely. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Absolutely.
So, do you get training to be, as a diplomat's wife, that how you need to, what you need to do, all the various activities that need to do? And I'm sure not, you don't get, you're not born with all these skills and talents.
You know, actually, in my case, I think I knew all these things even before I got married to my husband.
Oh,
And when I was to be married to him, I was quite happy that I will be, having all these things. But all said and done, our foreign service spouses sometimes are given some kind of training.
okay.
Sometimes they miss on the training, you know, because they're either the guy is or girl is not married and there is no spouse or partner.
Yeah.
So they miss out. But when I was very fortunate, I must say, that my husband's batch were given a proper training for a week in Hotel Sheraton in Delhi, and they would uh, uh, demonstrate and give us lectures on everything, including how to lay a table, to ballroom dancing, to make flower arrangements, and also to serve Indian food course wise,
Right.
and something a little bit about wine and liqueur and those things also. But then over the years you learn, you learn from looking at others, your seniors, how they are entertaining, because entertaining is a big part of his diplomatic life. And also all these things, are like one part. The other very important part is that as a spouse, I'm supposed to know about India. I make it a point to know everything that is happening in India, because not only general awareness, there are people who know so much more about India, and sometimes when you're talking to them, you must at least know how to ask intelligent questions, and that you can know only when you are knowing about India. So, I mean, we all do things our way, but there is a kind of emphasis on certain things, and also like on how to dress up and all. We were told, but that was long time back, 31 years back. But now the new wives, they don't bother that much. I mean, I left my job, but now in present situation, nobody would like to leave their job, and rightly so. And they compromise also. But more or less, there is, if not a formal training, you do get training from your seniors. You see them and you learn. I was very fortunate that I was part of the training.
So what are your strategies for hosting official events? What is the largest event you have hosted?
Largest events generally are like which I hosted, generally are the farewell parties, which can go up to 400 people. And when we were leaving Nepal, we had more than 400 people, but that time it was catered. But other places, because in Ukraine, in Belarus, where my husband was ambassador, we didn't have any Indian restaurant.
Right.
So everything has to be cooked at home. Yeah. And but I've been very fortunate that I've had people to, and if not, then I teach people to make, like my gardener could make samosas, very well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Russian gardener, he could just sit and make 400 samosas 2 days. and then I will, like I'll shallow fry it, and then freeze it, and whenever there is a party, we just. But a full pheasant Indian meal I have served. Um, like 400 was not mine, but in Ukraine, I think there were about 300 or 400.
Wow. So
But I
I
had a
think
team
one of
of.
the most important strategy is to be able to teach the people around you on how to cook.
Absolutely, because you have got only two hands.
Yes.
And then you are supposed to dress up and go out and talk to people. That can be even more tiring than cooking. um, but I think the strategy should be that, because people expect Indian food when they come to your house, even
Yes,
to any Indian
absolutely.
house. All of you are representing our country in a way, and when anybody comes to your house, they want the best Indian food ever. So
Yes.
so um, I, like all of you, have some standard things, like there has to be a rice or pulao or biryani. Then has to be some kind of roti, puri, salad, raita, or dahi vada. Like 5 6 things are standard in every Indian household.
Right.
And then you have a dal, which is like, my husband says, oh, why is there no dal? I said, no, they don't know what is dal, but no, anyway. So we always have that 2 3 non-veg, because I always think about the host countries' needs and preferences. So these things you make, and then very smartly you can convert it into 3 or 4 courses meal, or you can have a buffet. And uh, for the dessert, I always make one Indian, one Western, and fresh fruit, things like that.
So
But
it requires very smart thinking to host such large
no,
events.
not really. I think all the ladies have this in more. Not only ladies, many men also. So the strategy is not only about food. Then you have to also know all the guests.
Yes.
That is very, very important. So I always get the guest list if I don't know the guests. And sometimes I try to make, like, if there is an Indian delegation and there are people from Assam or Gujarat or Kerala, so we have to have a mixed match. uh, and also I read on them, and if I have got a very VIP person, then I read on that person a lot, so that I can have some kind of conversation with them.
Wow. So it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to host an event, to invite people and make them feel welcome.
Yeah, I mean, mixing and matching the guest list is generally my husband's job, but I like to also see who's coming and whether because a party can go haywire if the people are not matching together.
Correct. Absolutely right. No, it seems to me that you have a very, very busy lifestyle, but do you get time to pursue your hobbies? And what are your hobbies?
This is the question my husband had asked me when we first met, very first time. And he said, what are your hobbies? And I said, no hobby, what hobby? I mean, he said, no, everybody must have some hobbies, because he's a man of hobby. Until date, I don't have a hobby, I don't. But I'm interested in everything, and on everybody. I'm like interested in people, basically, and what people do, what people eat, what do they think, what they want. These are all my hobbies. So there is nothing which I excel in. So I'm a
Seems you
very
excel in people,
not really. I mean, I always say that I am the least talented person, but I'm there. I'm a facilitator. I can say that, add that much. That if you have something special in you, and you was by some coincidence or chance you're not able to pursue it, or I can help people in honing that. I can organize events and parties, or anything. Even for if somebody is a good painter, I can organize something. Or if somebody wants to showcase their painting or their artifacts or whatever. So those I'm a facilitator, basically.
Right, right. So what advice would you give to the Indian diaspora in Indonesia, especially women?
I think they should give me advice, because I understand, Poonam, that Indonesia is a wonderful country. I had no idea that there are so many Indians who live here and they've been living here for 4 or 5 generations. I met some people in Sumatra. who've been here for 4 or 5 generations. So, like my husband says, and I also think that, however much we want to be assimilated with the local culture and local everything, our face, our body language, our, some choices give away, and people immediately think of us as Indians. So even if one poses and, like one tries to, but you cannot discard your Indian identity. So why not we make the most of it?
Absolutely.
So my advice to the Indian diaspora would be that cherish it, that you are from India. Make your children aware of Indian art, culture, heritage, language. All said and done, I was quite surprised the number of temples and number of gurudwaras and number of pandits who are here. So that means that people are thinking of their homeland and their culture. That is one thing. And of course, I think they're all smart enough to know that we must respect the Indonesian culture and the people, and give them due respect and all those things.
Very, very, very rightly said. And it's so true that we should cherish our Indian identity and make the most of it and give a positive image of India.
Absolutely, India ka bhar aapke upar hai, so everybody is in a way representing India. Even if you have never been to India, you are born and brought up here, you do carry some Indianness. Even if you don't, you think that you are not. People take you as an Indian, first and last. So
that's true.
Maybe I will think later of what I should have said, but I think the Indian diaspora has been doing very well here, and my best wishes to them.
Thank you, Anamika ji. That was such a wonderful message that you've given us on how that we are all carrying the Indian identity with us, and we should cherish it and we should be proud of it. And on that note, I'd like to take your leave. If people have any questions, please send us questions and we will raise it to Madam Anamika, and she can also answer for us. And maybe we can have her again on a more more open interactive session on Zoom where everybody can be online.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to interacting with people. And also I would like to add that, my house, which is called India House, is open to everybody. Anybody who would like to come and meet, you have lived here for many, many years, but I think not many people have come to India House. I want to keep an open house for everybody to come and feel good. So with these words, I also like to thank you, Poonam. I mean, as I said, my house, my phone number and other things are always open. The only thing is that I'm not very active on Facebook, so please excuse me, people, but I'm always there on WhatsApp and other things. Yes. Thank you, and all the best to everybody. And thank you, Poonam, once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much for opening your heart and your house to all of us. Thank you, and pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Same here.
Bye.
I hope somebody has watched it or